Okay, I think I have a fun one for us today. We're going to put in the oil cooler. As you can see, there's a big hole right down here. And what goes in that is an oil cooler, which I'll show you in a second. We can tilt over the top here. It's going to mount in through two fasteners here, and these are where the bungs come up for the cooler lines. They'll run back through the radiator support here and on the other side when they will mate up to a oil filter adapter. I'll show you the parts we have and a couple of tools. There is the Earl's Performance oil cooler itself. A couple of these nice braided steel lines for it with AN fittings on both ends. Speed clips, I assume for mounting in here. A couple of support brackets, grommets, and some 10mm fasteners to hold it on. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and just kind of put you up in the stand, I think, and then set this up in there, this cooler, and just kind of test fit, see how it goes. All right, let's get after it. I hadn't said it before, I'll say it again. Having this lift is awesome. It should just fit right up in here. Seriously, should. Awesome. Well, I guess maybe I'll pull you off the stand. Let's see if I can show you what I'm dealing with here. That's great. Always something. If it was easy, everybody would, right? So I went to go test fit this guy in here. And coming up from behind, let's see if you can see what I was seeing. And there's, like I said, those two holes, and there's bungs that come up through both of those. One-handed, yeah, that's real easy. I promise I'll show you once I get it stood up. Okay, so you can see this guy's through the hole, no problem. This guy, we're maybe 1/8 of an inch. Holes are too close together. That's awfully big holes. I don't know, close to 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I don't know if my hole saws that I have. I've got some step drills, which probably will work here since they've self-center. Let me go look in the toolbox and we'll be right back. Well, the toolbox came up dry. This is a day later. I had to get a bigger step drill. This is a lot bigger. I'm only going to take it one step out. I could use a Dremel tool and just chew the side out of it, but then it looked like crap. And so this will keep it round. It should self-center. I don't know, Jacob, if you can get a shot of this or not. Right, but we're gonna. A little at a time. I'm not even go a full step down. Now I can't get it entirely vertical because of these fans. Let us test fit again. Rather I have to go slow and take a bunch of stabs at this than overdo it. Nope. So close, I can't see a damn thing through these. That is very, very close. Let's take one more little stab at it. much of a bite, I guess. Come on. Let that be. Same thing here. We are definitely going to have to do some deburring on that. Come on. That was the answer. Put it on low speed. I think that actually just stepped down, so that should be enough. Let's cross our fingers. How many times can I say it's very, very close and it not be quite there? Hopefully not screwing that up. Hallelujah. Okay, we're going to get the vacuum, we'll clean up, and we'll be right back. So I just realized when we were talking about this, I mentioned, hey, deburring. Well, I guess everybody might not know what that means. So Jacob, can you show the tool? So this is a deburring tool. And here, if you want to take a look at what you do with it, it's got basically a little carbide blade on it that's curved. And if you go ahead and just show like a pass around there how you did it. Just perpendicular to the surface and you run it around there and it'll take a little sliver off the edge. And so now when you come back in there, it's not a razor blade and you will be less likely to cut yourself. And it's generally you want to do that with most, cut edges on steel if you're going to be handling them at all. I'm not super worried about the bottom edges. It's harder to get in there anyway because the oil cooler will be up against it. But on the top, in theory, as you're like twisting one of the nuts on or something else, you don't want to catch bare aluminum like that unless you like cuts. So the next step, we're going to go ahead and put these little quick clips on here. Comes with a pretty decent set of instructions. This is actually, as far as I can tell, a custom kit that ERA has made for them. These quick clips will just go on just like that. And before those, I was looking as far as front and back. As far as I can tell, this thing is fairly bidirectional. I don't see any airflow indicators on the sides, and I'm not sure why it would matter as long as it's pumping from one side to the other. So we'll put these in first to hang it, and then there's these two aluminum braces that'll carry from there up to the radiator support. And guessing so 15 is, it says lock washer. There are no lock washers in here. So we'll go with the We'll be right back. The parts list is not adding up. Okay, crisis averted. Do have enough parts. So there's 4 of these 10mm fasteners that go in the top to hold this in, and then there are just 2 of the 10mm with nylon lock nuts, and then it actually mounts to the bottom of the radiator support with existing fasteners on there, so that's cool. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this bad boy in and make a decision about washers. So we're just putting these in. Well, trying. Those clips are requiring a little bit of moving around to get these bolts started. There we go. In fact, I'm not sure where I'm tightening that because, yeah, same thing there. I just need a little encouragement. I'm going to back that last one off a little bit. I want to leave this loose until we get the those lower brackets on. Give us some wiggle room. Okay. The lower braces actually seem to attach here onto this lower radiator support. So we'll just take those. Oh no, I guessed wrong. They're 7/16. It's almost like when GM and Ford in the late 80s were building vehicles and they couldn't decide, and half the parts were metric and half the parts were imperial, and it's the case here. Perfect spot. Need that. Okay. Angle's not quite right on either one. Well, that's the only, well, nope. I don't see any way it's that either. It almost has to be that one. It's just the angle's a little wonky. Yeah, I think that's where you want it. Tell you what, before we make any mistakes here, we'll try the other side to see if it's any different. Not really. Okay, we'll take a short break and consult our directions again. Again, I think I said the theme was go slow, take your time. This is something that's worth taking your time on. This isn't your 82 Chevy Blazer where you can just beat on with a hammer. Okay, so we consulted. Looks like we're doing it right. We put a little extra bend. Jacob, if you want to show them, on the long side, the one that goes up underneath the oil cooler. It's better, but we're going to go ahead and get this fitted up on here and see how it looks. So Jacob. So we got those lower nuts off the radiator fan support. I said radiator support earlier, that's not what it is. And the directions show doing it this way. So we're gonna give it a swing. There's nothing we're doing here that we can't take back off if we don't like it. Now, as we mentioned, that's a nylock nut, so he'll just be able to start it. You can only get it so far with your fingers, and then it's time for wrenching.
God, I'm stupid. I'm making this so hard.
How are those big fingers working out for you now? That's where it belongs.
Yeah, that's where I belong to.
All right, we got it started.
Yep.
So take this, put the 10mm socket on it. Wait, put the 10mm socket on it, and then there's also a 10mm box end wrench right here. 10mm on the end of the driver. Did you get the box end? So go ahead and let's take, yeah, that's probably fine for now. But let's go ahead and, I think you're going to want to do it the otra manera. The other way. Nope. Put that one on the bottom, then reach through just like you were doing before, but with a socket. Sorry, folks, I was... Okay. Okay, so maybe that wasn't a good idea. Okay, let's take it back out because we're banging around next to the paint. So why don't you grab this from me real quick. A little switcheroo here. There's a really long bolt and not a lot of room, and it's a nylock. This is awesome. That's a good place for a fast forward right here. What just happened? Terribly confused. It's definitely got a hold of it. I don't think we need to run it down all the way. It is a nylock. And so maybe that's why they did that, so you wouldn't run it down all the way and put any extra stress on it. It looks a little janky. In fact, I may back that up just a little. Let's get the 1/2 inch on there and I'll run that back down. No? Not 1/2 inch, 7/16. That one does need to be tight. It's a lock washer, and that requires the nut to be tightened down. The nylock doesn't so much care. I still say that looks a little janky, but I don't know how else it fits. Again, nothing is done here that can't be undone. I could take a picture and send it to ERA and just ensure that that is in fact correct. Well, I guess the other alternative would be to take this support rod and give it a twist down here, because if you look at it, it's tied up on that side and it's loose over here, so a little bit of a twist. And honestly, I think that may be what I do. And if I do that, I will come back and show it on this video, probably. Okay, it's definitely in there. We'll be right back after we take a look at the further directions for the hoses, and we'll show you those going in too. So we looked at the fittings that we have. The hose that's supposed to mount on here and go through the firewall has an AN fitting. These are not AN threads inside the oil cooler, so you need this basically male adapter. So it's going to have a nice O-ring, have these, looks like NPT, anyway, not AN fitting threads, and a nice, 37 degree AN, 30 something, I don't remember the angle on those. What we will do is put a little bit of good old silicone paste. These are using a -11 AN wrench to go in. So we'll just put a little silicone paste, just a little, not a lot, because you don't want dry O-rings. Dry O-rings are bad. So we'll get both of these bad boys started in here. So I guess on this, using silicone versus a grease or something is not a big deal. Obviously, these are Viton or Buddha-In or something O-rings, because they'll be in contact with oil. But the nice thing about using a silicone paste is you don't have to care, because the silicone paste will not react with any kind of rubber that I'm aware of. So it's a safe bet to always use. It resists water well, doesn't like to spread out much. So we're going to tighten these down. You don't have to go bananas on them. The O-ring's doing the sealing, not the threads. So as long as it's nice and snug. And yes, in theory, since I'm turning on that, it should be, I should be holding the other side too, but I'm really not putting much torque on it. Let's get our mess out of the way. Perfect. Perfect. All right, so next we will run the hoses through. We'll put the grommets in and run the hoses through. Look what we're signing up for here. This side is the oil cooler side. This side is going on these fittings. They have to fit through the grommet in the firewall. I don't want to disconnect all that. We'll see if we can squeeze this through and then put the grommet through with the hose in it. Just for notes, it says it in the directions, I think. The long one goes on the passenger side, the short one goes on the driver's side, because the oil filter is on the driver's side. Let's see if we have any luck getting this through here. And I'll put this protective bag back over here, because you don't obviously want trash in there. They've gone through special links. And we can put on there, the lines are clean, ready for installation. Well, that's great. But I've got to take some of that off to get this on here. I don't see that going over that. Well, could be wrong. It's stretchy. Oh. Come on, you know you want to. Okay, sweet, it's through, so it can be done. I'm gonna go ahead and slip the baggie back over. Doesn't take up much room, but just keeping us nice and clean and safe. Can you put your hand there, Jacob, so it doesn't lay on the paint? Just go straight back. Again, that was in the interest of being patient and taking this slow to make sure there's nothing behind it. There wasn't. It was just Gotta hold your mouth just right. Oh man, that's gonna look badass. Okay, I think I may go ahead and get this started on here before I go to fighting with it. Grommet. Or not. Let's think about that. I'd rather fight with it now, the grommet, when it's not putting pressure on that oil cooler. Because there's slip room in there, so if once I get the grommet to be a good boy and go in his home. I don't know, Jacob, do you want to bring that around? Nobody can see what I'm doing, if they care. But I believe this has to be the way you do it with the putting it through the hole first, but I have a feeling this is going to suck getting in there. And then I'm going to get my pocket screwdriver and see if I can help this out. Pocket screwdriver and his buddy, the other pocket screwdriver. I'm just bringing one. I'm getting my head in the way. There we go. That got us started. Okay, so a lot of grunting and not a lot of cursing, but grunting. The grommet will go around it while it's in the hole, but it had to have Jacob go around the other side, hold the hose down so I could get it over the top of it. So I still think that's the only way that that works, but come on, get started. Good. Good. Which of our ANs is that? 10?
I think it was 11.
No, 11 was the one underneath it. That's the one I used to hold with. So I think it's, I'm sure there's probably, hey, if it's this size there, it's always, yeah, so it's a 10 and 11. And when we get it down to where I'm actually having to tighten it, I will go get that 11 to hold the counter pressure on the adapter that's in there. Cooperate, come on. Okay. So we're gonna hold counter pressure with the 11. Nice and snug. I like the routing for that, looks nice and tight. I kind of hoped that these were like the blue and red, and maybe at some point I get totally bananas and switch it out, but for now, that still looks sweet. I like the way the hose runs. We'll do the next one. It should just be a repeat of the same operation, so I'm not going to bother filming it, just going to get it done, and then we'll take some after shots and show you how it looks when we get finished up.